Last week we talked about Ruth and how she found favor in the eyesight of Boaz. And here, as she began to glean as a person behind his servants, just picking up the mere scraps, she found favor in his sight, where he not only said, you can glean with my maids, with my maidens, and get the good part pieces of the crop, and you get to keep it for yourself, but you also have my protection. I have made sure that no man will touch you or harm you, because we know that you are not from here. This is a spectacular and momentous move. Not only does Boaz represent what your husband will do for you, but also what Christ Jesus will do for us as well. When we come into his wing, under his wings, when we come under his fold, he makes sure that we no longer get the scraps, but we get the good things. We get to sit at the table with the king, at the king's table. And we also get his protection, because we're his children. We're one of his own. And this is the beauty of Ruth. Ruth symbolizes so many things for us as women, us as believers, and it inspires us in so many ways. So whether you're unmarried and looking, or unmarried and not looking, or unmarried and heartbroken, unmarried and just, I don't know what I want to do, Ruth is here to teach us, and Ruth is here to inspire us. So today, let's just look on further to what Ruth is going to do with us and show us through this word. So here, Ruth is working, and I found in the word that it said she worked from the barley harvest until the end of the wheat harvest. And I was like, wow, my God, how long is it between this period of harvesting barley and wheat? And what I found is that the barley harvest begins at the beginning of spring. And for us, spring starts on March the 20th. And the wheat harvest starts at the beginning of summer, and for us, summer starts around June 21st, I believe. And in between this period, it's about 49 days, and it talks about 7 weeks and 7 days in the Bible, or in the Jewish custom. So just imagine harvesting and working in a field every day for 49 days, and then the end of the harvest is at the beginning of autumn, which is September 22nd for us. So this is roughly 6 months where the maidens will be out there harvesting, the grain, the barley, the corn, just working every day and resting on the Sabbath. Imagine being out here and how your fingers feel, and how your skin feels, and how sweaty you are, and how tired you can be, because it says she worked from morning to evening, and she never complained, and she never flirted with anyone. She just went out there, did what she had to do, and brought back her harvest and her report to her mother-in-law. So at the end of this wheat harvest, this is when Naomi says, I'm not getting any younger. You're not getting any younger. How about you go down to the threshing floor? Boaz is our next kinsman. He's the next one in line that has the right to marry you in this country. I need you to wash yourself, cleanse yourself, and get down to the threshing floor. And Ruth said, okay, if you say so, I'll do it. So this lets me know that Ruth wasn't fully sure, but because she had trust and confidence in Naomi, she went ahead and she was obedient. And here we can learn from Ruth. We can not only learn that, a part of our process is going to take some work. It's going to take some time and some toiling, in the harvest. And we're going to have to plant, and we're going to have to go out and cut down. And there's some things that God is going to have to work out within us. And I'm reminded of even my process, where even it probably was like a year in advance before I even ran into James. I met James, that God was, rebuking me about some things and showing me myself, and I was praying, and he was leading me to pray for my husband and pray for myself, and I was reading the word and fasting and everything, and I was all over the place, but everything was connected and I was in my right mind. But it was so much going on in this working season that I didn't understand until I had a friend of mine just speak into my life and say, look, everything that you're doing is preparation. And God led her to speak into me, because I just thought that, you know, it was just preparing me, or it was something for me to do in my spare time, or, you know, God was grooming me just to get ready to do ministry on my own. But what he was doing was grooming me to do ministry here, to do ministry with my husband, to stand by his side and undergird him in whatever he needs me to do, to be his helpmeet. So in my private time, in my time of isolation, I was practicing on the piano. I was worshiping on the piano. I was studying. Like, I went through the whole book of the Bible. I challenged myself to go through all the books of the Bible in 90 days. And I also was on a fast during this time. And then I intensified the fast. So God was purging me and preparing me for something I wasn't fully sure of, but I knew I was in preparation. And it took a lot of work, and it took a lot of focus, and a lot of praying, and a lot of days where I didn't fully understand what was going on. And maybe I was like, man, why can't I just be like everyone else? But I couldn't, because that drive and that push within me would not let me give up. And I believe that's how Ruth was. You know, she had lost some things behind her, and she came into this new country, and she wasn't sure of who these people were. She found favor in this guy's eyesight, but I've already had a husband. I've already had a man. I'm not trying to go down that road again, because I got hurt in the end. I lost him in the end. So I'm just going to work in this field, do what Naomi tells me to do, which symbolizes the Holy Spirit, and I'm not going to do anything else until she tells me to move. So now we transition into the 3rd chapter, and Naomi instructs Ruth to get ready. Naomi releases Ruth, is in the process of releasing Ruth from the single life into the married life. And she understood that there was some instructions and a way to get to this man's heart. And Naomi told Ruth, she said, wash yourself, get ready, make sure you smell good, make sure you look good. It's time. And we have to know that after God has groomed us and prepared us, out of nowhere, God will say, you know what, it's time. You know, that God that I've been placing in your heart to pray for, that's been in your spirit, and he won't let you alone. And it seems like you're almost obsessive, but you're not, because you've been pushing him away, and he keeps coming back, and God is showing you how he has these qualities and these qualities that you like. Now it's time. Now it's time to make yourself known. Let him know that you're available. So when Ruth went to the threshing floor, Ruth gave a specific instruction. She was told to go down there, but don't make yourself known until he's eaten, drinking, and laid down and went to sleep. And this can also be a hard process for us as well, because many of us, we're so used to wanting the attention, or doing something, or dressing up and trying to get a guy's attention, trying to get a man's attention, where we don't know how to play the background. And even here in the threshing floor, there is a time frame that's not accounted for in the word, but I can see that if Boaz is eating and he's drinking and he has to fall asleep, that's a process that takes place. It was a party going on. This is a celebration that was happening. So we know when we get together and there's food and there's drinks around, it could be hours before somebody really settles down. So imagine Ruth being there for some time, and the time is passing, and she's following Naomi's instructions, but it could be a time where you're like, should I stay or should I go? Or God, are you sure that you want me to talk to him, or be right here and, you know, message him, or, you know, go to this certain place because I don't see him? So yes, in this point, in this place where you are working and you are toiling in the field, is where you come to know God in a personal and more special way. And that's what Naomi represents. She represents after you've been working, after God has been perfecting you and purifying you, he speaks and gives you direction. And you must follow and stick to the directions and be patient, because patience is the key. So after some time passed, imagine Ruth sees Boaz, wandering on to the pile of wheat, and he lays down and he goes to sleep. And she does what her mother-in-law instructs. Go to his feet, lay down, don't make yourself known. Be quiet. Just be there and let God do the work. And that's what we have to do. We have to let God lead us to the place. And we have to let God do the work. And it says at midnight, he awakened, scared, and he was like, who is that? Who are you? Who's at my feet? And that's when she revealed herself, and she said, it's me, your maiden, your handmaiden. And she said, place your skirt over me, because you are my next of kin. You're my next kinsman. And this is simply translating as Ruth is saying, look, I'm here. I'm available. I like you. What you gonna do? So to speak. So Boaz, he says, wow. He's like, wow, you've been more kind to me in this latter part, in this time right here, than you've been in the beginning. And even you don't even pay attention to the younger guys. So this lets me know that Boaz had been watching Ruth. Of course, what we learned in the 2nd chapter, he had been thinking about her. He was intrigued and interested, but he wasn't sure if she was interested in him. And many times, that's what we'll find out when God finally leads us together. And it's that threshing floor period, and it's that revealing period. Your husband will say, you know what, I really wasn't sure if you were into me. I really wasn't sure. I thought you were all that. I thought you were beautiful, but I wasn't sure. And God opened up his eyes at midnight. He opened up his eyes and said, look, she's the one. What you gonna do? And that happens. That happens where God allows him to be blind to the fact that, hey, she's really into you, because there's a process that we have to go through, and there's time that has to take place. And also with your destiny and with your calling, there's a process that you have to go through. And as you learn the voice of God, as you learn how he speaks to you, and you let him lead you, and let the Spirit mold you and propel you forth, then that's when you collide into destiny. That's when the things line up and you begin to walk into your blessed place, and you know that it's your season, and you know that it's your time to move forward. So here we find that because Ruth was obedient, because she did not take the path like Orpah, she was able to be purified and for her purpose. She was able to be led and guided and mentored into finding and getting and receiving her blessing, which was Boaz. And since she did this, Boaz took the necessary steps to make sure that she became his bride. Now, we're going to pause here, because we need to know, many of us get caught up on the looks, and he seems like he's right, and I think this is the voice of God. I think that he's my husband, but he's not taking the necessary steps to be with you. He's not showing that he's a protector. He's not showing that he will be a provider like he did for Ruth. He's not even showing that he will take the necessary steps. And what are the necessary steps? Making sure that he will be able to take care of you, that God will take care of you both, that you are meant to be together, and also to get the ring, to take time. It doesn't have to be an expensive ring. It doesn't have to be a $3,000 ring. It could be a $30 ring, a $300 ring. But he took the necessary steps. He put some thought behind it and said, you know what, I want to marry this woman because she's a virtuous woman, because ever since I laid eyes on her, I can't stop thinking about her, and I don't want to live without her. I know she will enhance my life. I know she's my rib. I know she's my helpmeet. That's what a Boaz will do. Boaz will not say, well, I'm not sure. I'm not ready for all of that right now, but you're so beautiful and you're so amazing, and I've never met someone like you. When God reveals it to him, when the scales are removed from his eyes, he will take the necessary steps to be with you. And it won't take a long time. And he won't be confused about it. And he won't be hesitant about it. He will do what he has to do. The very next day, Boaz went to town and he talked to the townsmen, and he inquired to see if anybody else was interested in Ruth. But he did it in a specific way where he made sure that he would get her, and they settled the deal with the shoe, is what they used to do in that time. Take their shoe off and they would settle the deal. And while Boaz is taking the necessary steps to be with you, and he's showing that he's a protector, a provider, and he wants to be your covering, there's something that you have to do. You have to depart from the threshing floor. And before she departed, he gave her something to take with her. He said, here, get you some of this and go, and don't let anybody see you, because we want to make sure that this thing goes by smoothly. You know, many times we want to tell the whole world, oh my goodness, girl, we getting married. He said that he gonna try to. No, just be quiet. Keep some things to yourself and let God do the work. The only person that she talked to about this whole process was Naomi. She came back and she gave a report, and Naomi said, stay here and wait. And she said, but I know he won't let a day pass without making sure that he gets everything in order and everything under control. This is the kind of man that you need to have in your mental Rolodex, the checklist that you need to have in your mental Rolodex as far as what he should do and the steps he should take. But we also need to know that there should be a time where we step back and we step back and watch and see what he's going to do. If he's going to keep his word, because we run into so many men that say they're going to do something and they don't. So before you jump to conclusions, before you get overexcited, before you get the ring and you say, well, we're going to get married anyway, so I might as well, it's okay for me to give it up. No, you need to sit back, wait, and let the process go through. Let's see if he's really going to do what he says he's going to do. Ladies, this has been another Crown Jewel Effect. You be blessed. Tune in to the Ruth series before this one and Beauty for Ashes. I'll be looking for you next week. Until we meet again, blessings.